The other debate that's rocking the country is around an island which has barely a population of 1 lakh people. It's the Muslim majority area of Lakshadweep, where a number of changes have either been brought in or have been proposed by the centrally appointed administrator, Mr. Praful Patel. It's been just about a year since his appointment, and a number of changes have now been sought to be brought about, which has the entire non-BJP political opposition in arms. In fact, some leaders of the BJP have also objected. Now, what are these changes that have been brought about? One, it is the ban on the slaughter of cow, bulls and calves. Second, removing mutton and chicken from the menu of school meals. Third is the proposed bringing in of the Goonda Act, which can keep a person in jail without trial. And also about the removal of fishing sheds on government land. Now, all of this, and of course also giving of liquor licenses to resorts which are on the island. The administration says these are only reforms that will not only put an end to illegal slaughter, but will benefit the island in the long run and also attract more tourism. However, the non-BJP parties are not too convinced and are seeing this as a cultural project and a direct infringement on the way of living of people of Lakshadweep.
Liquor sale in the Union Territory. So what exactly has been the reason behind that?
I just want to, inform you, in Lakshadweep there is a prohibition regulation. But the administration has the power for exemption. Even today, for the last so many years in Bangaram Resort, we maintain the, resort in Bangaram Island. We have a bar license for the last so many years. So on the same lines, to promote tourism in 3 islands at the resort only, for 3 resorts we have given liquor license. And you see, this liquor license will be issued only for the specific place and for a specific purpose for tourism, and only tourists as well as non-islanders can have liquor in those places. Look, this is not for the islanders. And even for those non-islanders also, they have to get permit from the administration and they can have liquor in those 3 places. So that confusion, the propaganda that is being created is something different. We are not going to disturb the culture and tradition of the islanders because we are with them, they are with us. So it's like a family in Lakshadweep. So this liquor license is given for 3 resorts, and this is meant only for the tourists. This is meant only for the permit holders. It is not meant for the islanders. And that was there in the Bangaram Resort already also.
You're watching the News Hour at 10. Debate number 2 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
All right, joining us on the debate, we have Aparajita Sarangi, Member of Parliament and National Spokesperson of the BJP. We also have with us the Member of the BJP in Lakshadweep, Advocate Ajit G.A., Mohd Faizal, who is the Member of Parliament from Lakshadweep, Advocate Vijay Dharani, MLA of the Congress in Tamil Nadu, and ex-MP of the CPIM, Mr. Sebastian Paul. I want to first ask you, Ms. Sarangi, why is there an attempt to change the lifestyle and the cultural habits of the people of Lakshadweep? That is what is being alleged, including by members of your party.
A very good evening to all of you. I fail to understand where is the need to think on these lines. We have gone through all the draft legislative proposals, and I don't think there is anything which actually leads us to imagine that there will be alteration in the culture, in the way the people are leading their lives, and in the way Lakshadweep is being administered. I think whatever the legislations, they are for the better. They are for increasing the revenue of the Union Territory, and of course, it would be enhancing the income of the people there. And there is no question of any kind of
beef consumption is a lifestyle. Yes. It's a food habit. People of Lakshadweep say that this is our food habit and it has been for the last 4.5 decades. Why are you trying to change it now unless it is a cultural project? It's being called saffronization.
Article 48 of the Constitution, it's a directive principle of the state policy. It asks all the states, directs all the states to go for banning of slaughtering of cows. What's wrong? Many of the states have done this. If Lakshadweep also does, there is absolutely no problem. And we are not playing any minority card to appease a section of people. So I don't think we should be looking at it. We should always look at it from the eye of development. We are trying to push development. We are trying to push tourism. We really want Lakshadweep to come up as Maldives of India. And you know, the Bharatiya Janata Party government at the center is focusing a lot on the development of Ladakh and the northeastern states.
This is only an attempt to try and change Lakshadweep into the Maldives of India. Why bring religion into it, Mr. Faizal?
You're asking to me?
Yes, sir, it's for you. The BJP is saying it is only an attempt to bring in tourism and to change Lakshadweep into the Maldives of India. Why are you bringing in a religion angle?
So, no, I didn't bring any religion aspect to it. So the main aspect which I would like to discuss, that point you are not taking out. What was the first piece of legislation or promulgation when Mr. Praful Patel reached as administrator? What was the first promulgation he tried to implement? I want to discuss that. I'll come back to the liquor part. I'll come back to the beef ban, everything later on. So let me come back to the first point. Why Lakshadweep is a place where it is zero crime happening, and the National Crime Bureau of Records published by the Home Ministry is saying that the terrorism, kidnapping, child abduction, all those cases which is so-called heinous crime, what is the crime rate in Lakshadweep as of now? The Home Ministry's National Crime Bureau of Records says that it is zero. And UN certifies that Lakshadweep is the most peaceful area. There is no, people are living very harmoniously, people are living very patriotically, and people are very hospitality. Then why such a piece of legislation is required in Lakshadweep? That was the first piece of legislation, Mr. Praful.
You're talking about the Goonda Act.
Goonda Act. So that is the first point I would like to discuss. The tourism development, we are not against the development. We are not giving any color to it. See, to frankly, to understand.
So you're saying the crime is at an all-time low. There is no criminal record there. But isn't it a fact that given national security concerns, there have been several red flags raised by the government of India in the recent past, where in 2019, there were reports of the movement of ISIS terrorists. Then there was intel on ISIS terror in May last year as well. In 2016 also, there was a lookout for Islamic State sympathizers in Lakshadweep. All of these have been reports from the island, have there not?
Where there is no such a report in the intelligence, you kindly understand our previous administrator was none other than the IB chief, late Sri Dineshwar Sharma. He was the administrator previously. This government sent there. If such a senior level officer who has all the source of information, who served in Lakshadweep for 1 whole year, who was in front for a barrier to protect Lakshadweep from COVID for last 1 year, when the entire world was shook with the COVID spreading, and he would have been the first person to...
Sir, if I may, from the tenure of Mr. Dineshwar Sharma, let me quote to you a report from the New Indian Express, if I may. From the tenure of Mr. Dineshwar Sharma, let me quote to you a report from New Indian Express. Combing continued in the mainland for suspected Islamic State sympathizers. Intelligence and enforcement agencies have now upped their surveillance in Lakshadweep following specific inputs that suspected Islamic State operatives under the guise of religious preachers have been visiting the island in the last couple of months. This is from the tenure of Mr. Dineshwar Sharma that this intelligence report was originated, that Islamic State operatives were working as religious preachers.
See, if this report is of Dineshwar Sharma, when Dineshwar Sharma was there, then why this Goonda Act is imposing on Lakshadweep? But that is what my question is. If anybody passed through India, or if anybody passed through any corridor, any terrorist passing through anywhere from anywhere, will you be responsible for that particular portion? See, when the Goonda Act is implemented, What is the crime record? See, there are IPC very well established. Today, I have to mention one more thing, that the district collector as a responsive person from the Lakshadweep administration to respond to the protest and all this draft notification. What was his justification for bringing in Goonda Act? Have you listened to that? What he said is that Lakshadweep is having POSCO case. Lakshadweep is having reporting certain drugs which is coming to Lakshadweep. For this is bringing the Goonda Act. For that, very well established IPCs are there in the government. This is not the land which is not binding for any IPC laws. So what was the intention?
So, Mr. Ajit, basically, you are trying to change the living habits of a people, and then you bring in the Goonda Act in order to suppress dissent. Is the charge being leveled? And all of this is being done unilaterally. Mr. Ajit.
That's what.
Yes. Now, if you kindly see the whole situation, tourism is being ushered into Lakshadweep in a manner which is not known for the past few decades. When you see the next few years, it is very likely that there will be a surge of international tourists into Lakshadweep. Now, if you look closely to the PASA Act, or the Prevention of Antisocial Activities Act regulation, which is intended to be promulgated, it sets out provisions for gambling, prostitution, drug abuse, social and law and order problems. Now, as of now, there is no gambling, prostitution, etc. in Lakshadweep. It is intended for the international tourists and the social and law and order problems that is likely to arise with the advent of the tourists into Lakshadweep in large numbers. Now, this is a law which is to cater to the needs of the upcoming social and law and order problems that are likely to occur due to the influx of large number of tourists. Now,
Mr. Faizal, so you're saying the Goonda Act is aimed not at the locals, but at the tourists who you assume are going to be Goondas?
It is obvious
Mr.
that gambling is likely to occur when tourists come. This is a regulation to prevent gambling. Similarly, the Lakshadweep people have their own ethics and culture. Now, if prostitution is likely to occur, should there not be a law to curb such a menace? So this is a law which is intended to cater to the needs of this upcoming social law and order problems that is likely to arise in Lakshadweep. So this is not actually a law.
Okay, Mr. Paul. So if you are only keeping the people of Lakshadweep secure against gambling, prostitution, then why raise a storm in a teacup? Mr. Paul.
Well, it is the most absurd argument and defense I have ever seen in defense of an archaic and draconian law. Lakshadweep, as we all know, is an island of peace. Now they are introducing so many. My only concern is that development and tourism cannot be at the cost of denying fundamental rights of the people. Union territory does not mean that it is the private property or private domain of a union government. It is as good as a state. The people of Lakshadweep, a union territory, has all rights to enjoy the fundamental rights and freedoms guaranteed by the Constitution.
But sir, in what way are fundamental rights being curbed? In what way are fundamental rights being curbed?
People's choice. They are interfering in the food habits of the people. They are interfering in the way people are living there. Most of all, the Goonda Act. I am more concerned with that. A most draconian law is introduced for what purpose? But the only discernible purpose is that they want to suppress dissent or suppress criticism. That means you
don't buy Mr. Ajit's argument that this is against only prostitution and gambling that may happen. You don't buy that argument.
That is why I described his argument as most absurd. He says something that in future there will be prostitution.
Yes.
In future there will be gambling.
Now, my simple question is, with the advent of a large number of tourists, international tourists and high-end tourists into Lakshadweep, is it not likely that gambling and prostitution and drug abuse, etc., are likely to increase? So this is a law. I'm in conformity with the argument raised by Mr. Sebastian Paul that if such a law is applied to the locals, it is a draconian law. But you can see the substance of the law. It provides for to prevent gambling, prostitution, drug abuse, law and order, and other social problems, which is non-existent in Lakshadweep as of now. So, if at all, it is not targeted towards the locals. There is, I am a lawyer who is
both Mr. Paul and Mr. Faisal are smiling. They don't agree with you. They think that you're trying to put it very crudely, put lipstick on a pig.
No. It is.
Mr. Faisal.
This is totally a baseless allegation. See, the way he is putting up is totally, don't put, my humble request is that we are very peace-loving people. We are very patriot. And for the sake of implementing a Goonda Act in Lakshadweep, don't put us in trouble, my dear sir. We are very peaceful people, and you know that where is the tourism? The gambling, all those things. There is a very well outlined guideline published by Justice Ravindran Commission, which was constituted by the Supreme Court of India. In that, it is very clearly mentioning what are the activities permitted or what are the activities not permitted in this. I'm not saying that liquor is a ban for that, but what I'm saying is that for every developmental aspect of it, there is an outline guideline. I'm coming back to a subject which I'm referring to. The draft notification, which again Mr. Praful Patel is trying to get promulgated, is Lakshadweep Development Authority Regulation. Have you gone through the content of it? Lakshadweep ecological fragility. On that, he is trying to put mining. He is trying to spread a road of 15 meters broader. You know what is a square kilometer of one island is 3.2 square kilometer. To spread a 15-meter broader road.
But isn't that argument that this is needed for development? You need better roads if tourists are to come.
Agreed. Now also we have better roads. An island think that this is a very small area. To have what is the need of a 15-meter broader road in Lakshadweep where it is 3.2 square kilometers? And what is actually...
Aparajita Sarangi.
This is not me saying. This is a committee appointed by the Supreme Court of India and vetted by them. Let me complete. Vetted by Supreme Court of India. They says that, and this draft regulation is totally against that. And why such a draft regulation is required? Secondly, I'm coming back to what Constitution, Mr. Sebastian Paul said, this is against our constitutional right. What I would say that land belongs to the scheduled tribe people of Lakshadweep. The land is protected. Any outside person cannot buy.
Let Ms. Sarangi answer that. It's not about changing food habits alone.
Let me just complete then. Please give me some time. Please. I am the member of parliament from that place because I have to explain these things why we are protected.
Go on, Mr. Faisal.
Our lands are very much protected because we fall into scheduled tribe category because of the geographic isolation, and the land mass is very small, so that any outside person cannot buy land directly. So what is the interest of having an authority from the government itself? In that authority, it gives enormous power that without any consent of the local people, that land can be taken on the purpose or on the disguise of development. The people of Lakshadweep have no right. See, on the part of...
Okay, Ms. Sarangi, respond to that. It's not only about changing the food habit, it's also about encroaching on the land that belongs to the people. And some have also alleged today that this is making way for an eventual corporate land grab. Ms. Sarangi.
See, these apprehensions are baseless. Mr. Faisal is my esteemed colleague. But let me tell you that these are unfounded and these are obstacles, these are hindrances on the path of progress. See, we want to develop Lakshadweep, but let me tell you honestly, all these three laws that we talked of are at the draft stage. And what is the meaning of draft? Draft is we are calling for public opinion. I would request the Honourable Member of Parliament and all those who are associated with him to immediately file their complaints. In fact, they can voice their opinion, and these are not at the final stage. All these will be taken into account. But kindly support the development process. We want tourism to develop. We want Lakshadweep to reach its highest potential as far as tourism is concerned. And you cannot have tourism development unless and until you have perfect law and order machinery delivering good system. So I think there has to be peace, there has to be tranquility, there has to be law and order, and for that matter,
debated and
this social activities regulation.
But to call it an imposition of the RSS agenda is a bit of an overreach. Like your party has been saying, Ms. Vijayadharani, to say that this is the BJP's Hindutva agenda. It's about development, says the BJP. Why do you call it saffron agenda?
Absolutely, there is no question of.
I would like to point out very clearly, slaughtering of cows or what the people of Lakshadweep has to eat, and all these things is being now designed by the central government. This was attempted by earlier in Tamil Nadu by the ADMK government way back by Selvi Jayalalitha. It was a total failure, and they had to face the people in such a way that the government was about to be thrown out. So what the people have to eat, how they have to live, how they have to breathe, all these things, if the government has to decide whether that is not an infringement on the fundamental rights of the lives of the people.
So may I just quote to you? May I just quote to you from the Lakshadweep Animal Preservation Regulation Act that has been brought about, and it says nothing in this section shall apply to the slaughter of any of the following animals for such bona fide religious purposes as may be prescribed, namely any animal above the age of 15 years other than cow, bull or bullock, which means that buffalo meat above the age of 15, buffalo slaughter, buff, is still allowed. So to say that entire food habits are being changed is incorrect, and the second incorrect assertion is that every non-vegetarian item has been taken off the school menu, because while chicken and meat has been removed, it has been replaced by fish and eggs. Ms. Vijayadharani, then how is fish and eggs a part of saffron agenda?
See, one thing we have to go into it. In the last 4 decades, continuously, the Lakshadweep people follow a culture from Kerala that we have to understand. So wherein the Keralites have certain things as their food and staple food which they follow as a custom. When that being so, one cannot from outside promulgate something which is not their normal lifestyle. So one has to go, that will be a big failure. All these laws are made for the people only. If it doesn't suit the people, and if they live in a different lifestyle and you don't recognize that and put a stop to their daily livelihood, then it really...
Advocate Ajit, I'll give you the last word. It's a different lifestyle. You can't alter it in the least or try to alter it in the least.
See, insofar as...
Just live and let live.
That intended regulation is concerned, it only debars cows from being slaughtered. Mutton, chicken, fish, and all other things that are available. It debars only cows from being slaughtered. Secondly, the menu, with regard to the menu that was existing in Lakshadweep. See, there are local, when the COVID pandemic impacted Lakshadweep, so the administration naturally turned to meat products which are locally available, that is chicken and fish which is available in plenty. Fish, chicken and egg. So as of now, the meat was excluded only due to the geographical condition. You have to bring in meat from the mainland, from Kerala or from Mangalore port. So the difficulty in transporting the beef, that was...
Sir, I want to know, you mean to say that last 4 decades there was difficulty in transporting and people are eating for the last 4 decades? I'm sorry, sir, to hear from you. I'm very sorry about this.
Frozen are we eating?
You're bringing a law where...
And for that you are bringing a law.
Transportation is a difficulty.
And for that you are bringing a law.
I'm unfortunately out of time right now, but I think this is a debate that will go on for quite some time. We will come back to you, gentlemen, and both Ms. Vijayadharani and Ms. Aparajita Sarangi. For now, I have to thank you, but it's a delicate balancing act that has to be struck between maintaining the rights and lifestyles of people as opposed to security concerns and the law itself. And we'll keep examining this in detail. For the time being, thank you very much, and thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.